Hello everyone, it's good to see you again. I hope you are well, hope you are happy, staying calm, being aware, mindful, conscientious. So now we can do the chanting. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Gate Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. Tayata Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha. So now get yourself ready for some meditation. Initially to release the tension from the body. So get comfortable. Just around your face, I remind you, don't clench your jaw. It's something that us humans do a lot. Or frown. Try not to tense your neck, shoulders. Bring your mind inside your body and now release the tension. Starting at the bottom of the body, work your way upwards. So release the tension from all around your feet and your lower legs, knees, upper legs, around your midsection. Then further up your body, all the way up to your shoulders, and down to the tips of your fingers. Then back up to the top of the head. And now scan your body again just to see if there's any leftover tension that you can release. Now bring your mind, or place your mind on your breath. On the feeling of the breath as you breathe in and out your nose, all the way into your lungs, then out your nose again. In, breathing out. Just naturally, don't try to make the breaths too long, but also make sure they're not shallow. Just breathing in, breathing out. That's all we have to do right now. Not too tight, not too loose, not too much, not too little. If any thoughts arise, don't cling to them, don't grasp at them. Also, don't try to force them away or deny them, but let them go naturally by replacing your mind back onto the breath. And if your mind starts to become dull, you can wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So you can just focus on this process of breathing in and out, or you can add the extra technique of counting from 1 to 10. 1 in breath, 1 out breath is 1, and so on. But if you get distracted on the way to counting to 10, then go back to 1 at that time. Don't count past 10. So let's practice like this for a little bit. So now we can feel very pleased with ourselves for engaging in this short session. And now switch techniques to the loving kindness meditation. Fill yourself with universal loving kindness. You can utilize the feeling, or also you can utilize visualization, visualizing yourself, your whole being filling with white light or white nectar. Of course, the white light and white nectar in this case represents universal loving kindness. Now radiate your loving kindness outwards, initially to your loved ones, family and friends, filling them with universal loving kindness as well, wishing that they are happy, free from suffering, and they're peaceful. And now also radiate to those you may regard as strangers, filling them with the universal loving kindness as well, wishing that they also be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. And now also include those you may regard as enemies, those ones you find very difficult. Fill them with the universal loving kindness as well. And also wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and that they are peaceful. And now let's radiate the universal loving kindness out further distance-wise, initially around your immediate area, to all the living beings, the ones that live in the waters, live on the land, under the land, fly through the air, born from wombs, from eggs, from moisture, through transformation. And they're radiating further and further to include your whole state or county. All of the different types of living beings, the ones you find pleasing, the ones you don't know about or think about, and also those that you may even fear or dislike for whatever reason. And radiate throughout other states and counties, throughout your whole country. And other countries, those that you're familiar with, have an affinity towards, those you don't know about, and those that you may have negative feelings towards. Until your loving kindness pervades this whole planet, not only in the countries, but in the oceans, all the way to the center of the earth, and all the way up to the farthest or outermost, what do you call, atmosphere. All the living beings, the ones that you can see, the ones you can't see. Now let's radiate this love and kindness out beyond this earth to other planets throughout the whole solar system. And other solar systems throughout the galaxy. And all the galaxies throughout the universe, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. This immeasurable universal loving kindness generated in your own mind, now radiating throughout infinite space to all living beings. And now also be present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. So we will continue the conclusion for the Metta Sutta, the Buddha's discourse on universal loving kindness. As you remember, or will remember, you can say it's broken up into 3 parts. The first part predominantly has to do with morality, discipline, ethical conduct. The second part, which is the largest part of the sutta, is predominantly related to meditation or mental absorption, mental development. And the last part is related predominantly to insight or wisdom. And obviously we've covered the first part and the second part, and we've just started covering the third part. And for those of you who missed some of these classes, then you should review the videos so I don't have to repeat myself, because we actually went into quite in-depth detail of each word or each phrase sometimes. So last week I briefly covered standing or walking, sitting or lying down. During all one's waking hours, may one remain mindful of this heart and way of living that is the best in the world. So you can think about that, best in the world. Friendliness. So what we call it universal loving kindness, but also you could call it virtuous friendship as well. The friendship is very closely related word, mitra, friend, and metta, loving kindness. Sometimes we can use the word love, but I think maybe don't just use that word because it could be misconstrued as the worldly love, isn't it? The love between partners, even the love from parent to child, between the siblings and so forth. Because there's 5 different types of love, isn't there? If you use that word love. But the one that we're developing now is the universal loving kindness. The Maha Metta, the great loving kindness. So the best in the world, we say, the best way of living. I think we can all agree with that. Now, obviously, our aim eventually in the Dharma is to realize the supreme wisdom and also You'd say marry it with the bodhicitta, the great compassion. Or sometimes you can say wisdom and method, or wisdom and virtue, or wisdom and merit. So when that's our goal, but along the way we have to develop loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic or empathetic joy, develop this mind of equanimity and so on. So that we have the conditions. It's part of the compassion part, which you can also call method or methods, or you can call virtue or merit. You could use all of these words. So you could say the wisdom is benefiting ourselves. The compassion or methods, benefiting others. But actually benefiting others and benefiting yourself is both the same thing, really, isn't it? But we have to divide it up a little bit at the moment, because that's the way, it's the nature of our thinking, nature of our habits. We have the habitual tendency to have dualistic thoughts, dualistic way of thinking. The good, the bad, up and down, right and wrong, hot and cold, and so on and so forth. So we use the example when we're teaching the Dharma. We use the examples, the dualistic way, isn't it? So that we can understand. Because actually, if we express the Dharma from an ultimate point of view, you cannot do it. And even if we could, we wouldn't understand. Because this 40-minute Zoom Dharma class would be 40 minutes of silence, 40 minutes of no expression that we have to express. So hopefully you understand that point. But think about the way of living. This world that we live in right now is conditioned by cause and effect and conditions themselves. Conceptual way of thinking and living. So this universal loving kindness, what's the opposite of it? Even if we just use the word friendliness, what's the opposite of that? Unfriendliness. Obviously, that's not the best way to live, is it? Best to be friendly. That doesn't mean you go out there with a crazy smile on your face and smile at everybody, or kid yourself that there's people, everybody is loving. Of course, everybody is a Buddha if they realize their true nature. Everybody can be compassionate. Everybody can be loving, kind. But many people in the world, unfortunately, don't behave like that. That doesn't mean you turn your back on it and live in denial, We have to see the truth. And as I've mentioned during this commentary, sometimes the truth is inconvenient. So the inconvenient truth, we have to pay attention to that. But at the same time, maintain this heart of loving kindness and compassion. If you see people or a person or groups of people behaving really badly, even harming others, you don't have to condone that, but you can think, I wish, I hope that they will wake up to themselves. Can I do anything about it? If you can, do it. Say something or live by example, good example. A lot of the time you won't be able to do anything. So with your mind and with your positive energy, you can radiate this loving kindness and this wish that they be happy. And rather than engaging in the causes of suffering, actually engage in the causes of happiness. Because when they are behaving badly, and when we are behaving badly, we are giving rise to future suffering. We don't want the beings to suffer. We don't want to suffer ourselves. So whenever you find yourself maybe having the wish that, oh, this horrible person now, they're going to get what they deserve. I've heard people saying things like that. Oh, that's karma. They're doing bad thing. They're going to get the results of the karma back. But we shouldn't think like that. We should be aware of it, be realistic about it. Yes, in this conditioned existence we call samsara, or cyclic existence, there is cause, there is effect. You cause suffering, you experience the effect of suffering. Yes. But also if you replace that with the causes of happiness, you will experience happiness. Then, of course, if you go even beyond that, the causes of enlightenment, you could say, to unveil enlightenment, then we will experience that. So it is the best way to live, is to be friendly, to be honest, to be accepting and forgiving, to be kind, compassionate, loving, even if we have to force it a little bit now, sometimes. So I'll repeat that again. Standing, walking, sitting, or lying down during all one's waking hours, may one remain mindful of this heart and this way of living that is the best in the world. So always bring it to your mind. We're not perfect, so we are going to wander off the topic, you could say, but then recall it. Bring it back to your mind. And then fill yourself with it. And then radiate it outwards. Maybe 4 weeks ago, I think, we spoke in depth about the wisdom part. So like I said, have another look at that. We spoke about non-attachment a lot. And that's what we're up to here now, unattached to speculations, views and sense desires. With clear vision, such a person will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering, forever free and happy, which is actually just added for the song. Those words, free and happy, forever free and happy, actually isn't part of the sutta. The sutta actually finishes on, will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering. So unattached to speculations, that doesn't mean you don't speculate. Okay, like I said, we have to utilize our mind. At the moment, thinking in a dualistic way, but utilize our mind to investigate and analyze the mind itself, as well as phenomena. We have to do this so that we can realize the true wisdom. Use our ability to investigate and analyze, and to contemplate. And during this process, we will be speculating, but don't attach to it. Even if your speculations are relatively true and accurate, don't attach to it. Rejoice in that. Rejoice in the fact that you are utilizing your abilities to contemplate and the like. Even if you prove yourself wrong, rejoice in that, because you will clarify any misunderstandings, and you will also give yourself the opportunity to understand how things really are, maybe learn something new. That's a good thing. And that's what I say. In fact, I put this up on Facebook yesterday with a little quote I came up with years ago. To be proven wrong is a blessing in disguise, because it will result, like I said, in clearing up any misunderstandings that we have and learning something new, and also being humble. We actually humble ourselves. Being humble is very important. The more humble we are, the more we allow ourselves the opportunity to learn and to absorb our mind, in this case with this universal love and kindness. So unattached speculations, views, of course we have views. We have views and beliefs. If we find that we have the wrong view about something or other, replace it with the right view. In other words, the wrong understanding about something, replace it with the right understanding. Example, very simple example, all phenomena, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. We know that. If you find that you're living in a way that you think things are permanent and grasping hold of them, causing yourself to be upset, or causing yourself to be puffed up, think you own yourself and others and everything, then stop yourself from doing that by reminding yourself that all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Okay, so also I'll mention this again, which I've mentioned many times in the past. Our happiness is impermanent, so practice Dharma now. But our suffering is also impermanent, so rejoice. Rejoicing and recalling your good qualities and your good deeds and the like is very important for our practice. Reminding ourselves of the goodness, of our own goodness. Okay. And sense desires, so anything to do with our, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, and also what we think. Don't attach to it. See it as what it is, impermanent phenomena, mental and physical. It has the nature of being unsatisfactory. It's always changing, always becoming something else. Therefore, it is in this way, I'll put it this way today, it is free of self, free of the constraints and limitations of self and the belief in the self. We say most of the time, no self, don't we? Or emptiness of self. Maybe we can use that word I just used. We actually will be free from these limitations. Free from sticking ourselves in a shoebox and saying, this is the way I am. I'm only this big. Or even if you think you're big like a mountain, free yourself from that limitation too. Free yourself from the pride and the arrogance that rises from the pride, as well as the envy that could arise when you compare with others. Give up any type of competitiveness with yourself and with others. And so the last little bit says, with clear vision, such a person will never be reborn in the cycles of suffering. So we will attain enlightenment. At very least, enlightenment, nirvana or nibbana, enlightenment of an arhat. Or you could say, if you add the bodhicitta, the bodhisattva path, we will perceive the nature of reality, and then we will work our way through the stages, through the paths, until we realize Anuttara, Samyak Sambodhi, unsurpassed supreme enlightenment of a Buddha. So whether we know this enlightenment as a Buddha, or whether we know it as Arhat, or whether we know it as the 10th level Bodhisattva, highest level, doesn't matter. Because right now we don't have it. We haven't, actually we do have it. We just haven't realized it yet. Okay, so that'll do for that. I probably stay on it still next week and then move on from there. It's coming towards the end of the year, isn't it? This so-called year, so-called end. There's nothing ending really. But I had to think of the days. I'm not too sure. I just, in my mind, I didn't look at a calendar. But I think that the 24th of December is a Saturday. Therefore, the 31st December. And possibly the week after that, which I guess is the 7th of January, we will probably take off. Or at very least, we will take off, have holidays, you could say, holiday from Zoom on the 24th and the 31st at least. So I just thought I'd let you know of that. Of course, that's still 6 weeks away, so no problem. Anyway, also, I got asked a question and I should have answered this longer before. I'll give a brief answer now. In relation to the mother's love for their only child, with the example used by the Buddha in this Metta Sutta. I will explain a little bit more next week, but just really, really briefly right now, the person wanted to know how to be a good parent. So I actually gave a few different answers, which I'll give you next week. We've only got a minute and a half now. But so basically, you have to live by example. So if you want your child or children to be friendly and loving and kind, then you have to be like this. Of course, we're not perfect right now, but we can learn from any mistakes that we make as a parent. Now, I haven't been a parent in this lifetime, so I don't know from firsthand experience. But maybe looking from outside is very helpful too, because you're not in it, you're looking from an overview of it. So I will teach you the example of a good parent utilizing the examples of a tree, a big grown tree, and acorns, and then little new trees. If you know that parable or that example, then you can look it up. Otherwise, I look forward to teaching it to you next week. I rejoice in your goodness. Stay well, stay safe, stay positive and calm. Practice the Dharma to the best of your ability. Thank you very much. Thank you for your love and kindness.